Okay, guys, welcome to another edition of the Detour Live. I'm joined, as always, by four-time national road champion Johnny Trevorrow and Olympic gold medalist Scotty Scooter McGrory. Fellas, we promised yesterday a monster show today. And as with most things that we talk up too much, we may or may not have some big guests. What's the latest, John? You're our talent manager.
Well, I got a text from Dave Brassford just 5 minutes ago because we sent him a pretty detailed list of what we're going to talk about. I think it scared him.
Yeah.
He said, mate, I'm on the team bus on the way to start, so I can't really speak openly now, mate. Well, that's okay. Fair enough. I just went back and said, look, just 5 minutes, we'll talk about the weather. And we're going to get him on. I'll get him on the rest day where we can really go into it a bit more. But I think we might get 5 minutes out of Dave, Sir Dave, in the next hour. Let's just hope.
All right. And what about Luke Rowe? Is he still in bed?
I think he's still in bed.
I think he's still asleep. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Wake up, Luke. Wake up, Luke.
Unpacking last night's stage, boys. I did say Damar, and I mentioned that to Waddy as well, and he said, "Oh no, he probably won't get over that climb, or was it the climb or something about a climb?" But good form in 2020 carries over. So
yeah, he did say that. That's true, and we all doubted him and you. And as you pointed out to me, I haven't picked a winner so far in this tour, so I better get on my game.
It wasn't a very impressive win, and the interview afterwards, you could just see how I think it was probably unexpected, and by how dominant he was in the sprint, it shouldn't have been. But you could just see the excitement. You could really hear it in the interview after the stage. It was the Cat 3 it started 33 Ks to go. Big, wide open road, though. And he got up over that okay. But there was a really steep pinch only a couple of Ks out, 2.7 Ks out. And that's where he drifted back a little bit in the group. So it was a struggle to get over it. But to his benefit, he didn't have any teammates at the top. But to his benefit, Astana with Jakob Fuglsang, he drove right around the outside of everybody for his sprinter, Feline. And Damar got onto the back of that. And it was a double left-hander at the end that they went around the outside. And he just, with momentum, straight around the outside onto the Astana lead-out train and then just absolutely pumped him. And the whole day had been set up by Bora for Sagan. And he just misfired completely. But, hey, Michael Matthews, good ride by him, second place.
Yeah, and a good second place actually. I mean, no doubt, Damar was the man, but and it put a big gap in. But Michael looked very good in the last 100 meters to whisk past a couple to run second. So,
Yep. Demand. It puts him in. Sorry, mate. It puts him in the points lead as well. So he's 39 points ahead of Sagan now. So as we saw at the Tour de France, Sagan is on the back foot early and having a chase to try and get back into the Maglia Ciclamina, the purple jersey.
One thing I noticed that Sunweb put out a video on Michael Matthews, and it was like I was watching. It was like a funeral or something. Like second place, nothing to sneeze at. Have a look at this video. I thought it might be just me, and it might just be the music, but I thought they could have been a little bit more upbeat.
Good job, guys. Good job, Michael. Second. Michael is second.
It was hectic as we all expected, but I think the team did a great job to position us guys that were going to do the final into the last 4K. Quite a steep uphill for about 800 meters, and then from then on it was chaotic sprinting as always, but I had to take a few risks to be able to stay up there, but I think in the final I had some good legs to do the sprint. Unfortunately wasn't on Damar's wheel when he started his sprint, but was able to come around for second place, and we're making our way to that that stage win. Wilco was really good yesterday with the team, and again today we were close again. So yeah, we'll keep fighting, and hopefully that stage win is coming soon.
Sorry, is that a little bit too dark, or?
Yeah, it was a little bit, wasn't it? Luke, that was Luke Roberts in the background too, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was the first voice. He sounded really down when he was announcing second place for Michael. Yeah. They set the scene for the video, just dragged it right down from the start, and just took it all the way through.
Yeah, exactly. So, I thought maybe next time. Yeah,
maybe they're all a bit dark. He did give him the team a bit of a burst. In about the second or third day, what stage he blamed the team for not getting him up there. So I thought, maybe he should have. That was on Cycling News, I think, or something like that. And so yeah.
He did a Cadell.
You got to be careful.
Blame the team.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that sort of stuff, Bling. You're better off staying very positive and just spit out generic comments like, it wasn't our day. Team did a great job. Never gets you in trouble.
But he was dead right. They weren't there to help him. So, but I'm very impressed with Sunweb though. For me, they were the team of the Tour de France, and they have a go all the time. Something about them, it's quite exciting. I don't know what's changed with them in the last 12 months, but this year they have been the excitement machine team.
I'll tell you what's changed with them since the Tour de France, John, is the Tour de France team isn't at the Giro. It's a different group of guys, and they're just not the same.
But they've been good in this too. No, I'm saying this year they've changed this year in their approach to everything, and they've been having a go in this. They're up the road. They might have helped Matthew on that one day, Michael, but they're impressive.
Yeah, Kelderman's still in the mix for the overall classification. So, hey, but at the same time, Arnaud Demar had no teammates at the end either. They got him into position for the last couple of Ks, but then he had to freelance and he had to surf the peloton and follow Astana. So, and Michael was at the front. He was where Sagan was at the start of the sprint. So those guys were kind of balked at the front of the peloton because there were no lead-out guys for anyone. It was only Jakob Fuglsang, his GC guy, that stepped up for his teammate Fellini. That's what benefited Demar. So, you can't be too hard on any of the teams because the depth isn't there for the sprinter lead-out trains at the Giro this year, unfortunately, which is going to make it interesting every day. That's exciting.
We talked to Sports Director Matt White a little bit later, but Scooter, how much is sprinting about confidence?
Oh, absolutely. Huge in terms of making sure you're in the right position, being confident enough to know that the race is for you. It's for you to lose, and because every sprinter wants to be in the right position. And as I say, Demar came from behind. He was being very, very nervous at about 700 metres to go, thinking he was out of it, but then saw an opportunity, followed the right wheels. Had the Astana guys not gone, Demar may not have probably wouldn't have won the stage. But you can see it now with him. Once you get a stage win, once you get on a roll, and the sprinters that come into a race like the Giro and say, I want to win a couple of stages, that's very, very dangerous thing to do. You want to go in and say, look, I'd like to win a stage. I'm going to try and win a stage. And, of course, once you win one, then you might be able to go on. You might want to win 2 or 3 or 4 stages, but you never say that publicly. Well, you should never say that publicly. But once you get a win, it's also the confidence that other riders have in you, which might sound strange, but your opponents see that, this is a guy. Like, everyone's going to fight for Demar's wheel now. So he's going to be able to get himself into a better position than whether he had to fight everybody else for someone else's position to get into the right spot. So it helps. It helps, absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is when sprinters get to a point in their career, you're looking, and we asked this about Whitey later with Viviani, but it's very hard to keep that edge in the sprints. You look at cases of sprinters, particularly in the last 5 or 6 years, once they drop off and they don't get that confidence back, it's very hard to have 1 or 2 lean years as a sprinter, then all of a sudden be back on top again. You've almost got to hold it, yeah?
There's not many who come back. There's not many. No.
Yeah.
Cav is the perfect example of that. The last couple of years, he just has not been able to get that mojo back, has he?
No,
unfortunately. But hey, who would want a sprint career like his, though? So you're talking about probably the best we've seen. in the last several generations. Cipollini be put up there as well. But look, Cav, 30 stage wins at the Tour de France, multiple stages at the Giro. The guy was extraordinary. At some point he's going to slow down, isn't he?
Yep, for sure. We've got some comments coming in. Ian Thomas, you're right, Dan. Who died? Samantha, big fan of the show. Hey, Sam, thoughts on the COVID situation in Europe? Will we see more race cancellations? What do you reckon?
I'm afraid so. France have already stopped all sporting events, and the Paris-Roubaix is very doubtful at this stage.
Yeah. So Amstel's off, Roubaix possibly next. Anything else. So Paris Tours is on this weekend. So at the moment, that's going ahead. So and obviously it's this weekend now, so they're not going to cancel it now. So that might be the last race.
Oh, they are going ahead, because I was told that when it came out yesterday, said they were cancelling all sporting events.
Oh, well, perhaps it is. Sorry. So going from what I saw yesterday, it might have been before they said that. But
hopefully it is. Well, I know that the Lille-Roubaix area of France is one of the worst spots. That's why Paris-Roubaix is in so much trouble, and Paris as well. But as we know, Paris-Roubaix starts in Compiègne, which is sort of 80k out of Paris. So it's not so bad at the start. They're talking about. They're going to the French government saying they would run it without fans. But, it's going to be interesting.
You just brought up an interesting point there, John, because this is completely off topic, and hopefully you guys will let me go there. But you mentioned Paris-Roubaix does start, 80 k's or so out of north of Paris in Compiègne. That was the point that was brought up quite a bit when the Melbourne to Warrnambool, which is obviously Australia's most prestigious old race, because it starts down in it had been starting closer to Werribee now, so it starts at Avalon Airport, and a lot of people say, "Well, that's not the Melbourne to Warrnambool; it should start in Melbourne." And then you remind people, hang on, things like Paris-Roubaix, it's been a long time since they've actually started in Paris. People can't seem to get their head around that. There's a lot of races like that.
Yeah. Well, the Melbourne Warrnambool is the second oldest bike race in the world. Liège-Bastogne-Liège is the oldest, and the Melbourne Warrnambool is the second.
It starts in Liège, though, doesn't it, Liège? Pretty sure.
And isn't the Austral one of the oldest track races in the world?
It is the oldest track race in the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty good.
I saw the Ween Dog. He's out of the race.
Yes.
Starting. Yeah. So we'll try and get him on the rest day.
Did you? He had that fall, hit another damn drink bottle.
He had problems with concussion. So halfway through the stage, he said to his team doctor, "I'm feeling foggy," and they're like, okay, we better pull you out." So we talked about that with Bridie O'Donnell on the Tour de France about the concussion protocols, and we had some suggestions that they need like shock inserts into the helmet so it can detect impact and things like that. But obviously it's definitely going to be an issue moving forward on what the right protocols are. And remember there was a famous crash. Oh no, that was from heat exhaustion. I was going to say Matty Lloyd at the Tour Down Under 1 year scooter. Didn't he have a really bad crash? But that was that concussion related or?
No, heat exhaustion. He basically blacked out on a descent and just went over the handlebars. It was horrific and terrible. Shocking one was Tour of California a couple of years ago. Rider's name escapes me now, but had a nasty crash, and the vision showing him trying to get back on the bike. And he was basically just falling over himself, trying to get back on the bike, walking around the road as other groups were coming past on the descent. It was so obvious that he had concussion. He'd really smacked his head pretty badly, and that's probably one of the worst to demonstrate just what it is like. But how do you do it? Like in his case, it was pretty clear that he was banged up, didn't know where he was. But a lot of these cases, you don't know. Talk to the riders afterwards, and they've forgotten what happened in the stage. But if you hold them for too long, that's it. They're out of the race anyway. So they're not going to get back on. So it's a challenge.
Yeah, it is. And our sport is so different to other sports. Football, most team sports, you've got a doctor's sitting there. You can keep them there. You can look at them and analyze it all. But cycling, you can't do that. And so I think that the technology is there. That impact a sensor on a helmet is an obvious way forward.
You know what I'd do though, if I was a racer and if there was someone, say if it was coming up to sprint, I'd just go up to the favourite of the sprint and just give him a quick whack to the back of the helmet. Sensor would go off, and they'd tell him he'd have to get off the bike. Easy.
You sound like the bloke from Tour of Turkey.
Theo Boss.
Theo Boss.
Yeah. Guys, what we haven't mentioned is a good ride by Aussie Jimmy Whelan, who made it into the break last night. 4 riders in the break. He was in the end the last one to get caught. He went away on that Cat 3 climb, so he was the strongest of the group. So good to see the former runner that came through the National Road Series riding really well at EF Education. So good ride by him. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but one of the other riders that was in the break, because we've had Filippo Ganna win 2 stages. He's leading the King of the Mountains competition. And in the break, we had Filippo Zana. So we've had Ganna and Zana. And at one point, I thought Zana Ganna, but it wasn't to be. It was Donata.
Donata, well done. That's some vintage there.
You work on that one,
He's back. He's back.
I looked at it and I thought, look at that. Filippo Zana. Zana. No, he won't.
Alan, saw Varun 40 years ago this week. I rode the Warnie with Iffy. There you go, John. You can talk about yourself.
Well, that Skull and his brother Johnny Sovereign was a really good bike rider. Al, and of course Al, you were as well. And he's been on a couple of Tours de France with us, Skull. And he doesn't live up to his nickname either. He might. But anyway, it's another story.
Oh, well,
what mark was you? What mark? Do you remember what mark Al would have been off?
Only because it was an amateur, and that was the year they made the Warnie Pro-Am, so that Beryl Burton could ride, and gave Johnny Hine 30 minutes, and he won it quite easily. Roar and Tar Wind. It was one of the fastest days of all time, and I think he was in the front half of the race, but I'm not sure exactly what mark Skull was on.
Jeez, okay. Mate, with the tailwind, those sorts of speeds, the cane rims would have been under a lot of pressure. I'm surprised the wheels held together.
Scotty's confidence is growing. It's growing. We've got another question. Andrew Morn says, another COVID question. Do you think the Australian New Zealand riders based in Europe will now look to come back home to avoid Northern Hemisphere winter and increasing COVID cases?
Well, they'll be coming back to quarantine, won't they? So they'll all have to come back to 2 weeks quarantine. So the sooner they get back, the better, so they can then start preparing themselves again for next year. Whatever that looks like, we don't know just yet. But the season's so long now, it's extended. A lot of the guys would have already been hanging it up by now.
Look, most
of them.
And it's unless the big teams, the riders have got it all sorted out. But I can tell you, Brenton Jones, the son of a good friend of ours, Karen, Brenton, top bike rider, Australian Criterium champion, all of that, riding in with an English team, and he hasn't been able to race. So now they want to come back. Their flights keep getting cancelled. He's really having a struggle. They're trying to even buy business class tickets now to get back, to do all of that, but they just cannot get on a plane. Everything just keeps getting cancelled on them.
That's a bit of a worry.
But in the meantime, I saw Rochelle Gilmore. She went across to the UK to commentate for BBC, the World Championships. So Sydney to London. And then the rest of her trip was cancelled for some reason. She was going to stay longer, but then jumped on a flight and came back. But she did post her boarding passes, which were first class. So Brenton can raise the extra, whatever that is, $15,000 to get into first class. Then he can get home.
It wasn't just that, mate, but there was more to it than that, mate, because Rochelle's stepfather has a special connection with, I think it's Etihad or Emirates, one of those, and that was part of what got her on as well. It wasn't just as easy as getting a first-class ticket, I found out. Yeah.
Well, my old man used to get me free pens and paper, so... Yeah, that's all right. Scott Davies, he wants to know, what's the story behind the jerseys in Scott's background?
Good pickup. I brought in some props tonight. So those 2 jerseys are from, I think it's the 89. I'm actually not sure of this. 89 Giro. They were both worn by Phil Anderson, and at it was a testimonial dinner or something, a bit of a fundraiser. Phil had a heap of stuff there that he threw in, and I bought those 2 jerseys, and I've had Phil sign them for me. So 2 original Ciclamina and the blue jersey of the Giro d'Italia, worn by Phil Anderson, the great Aussie. Proud of those.
And you know what? Our viewers are right on the ball. They pick up those jerseys in the background. They pick up the blue tack on the back on my background. They're on the ball.
Well, some people watch this show on their big TVs through YouTube, so you can't miss a beat. So
that's why I've got to step back. My head's too big, I reckon.
Correct. All right. Now, as always, we caught up with Sports Director Matt White. This is the chat with him earlier today. Sports Director Matt White. White, are you in a brand spanking new hotel?
Yeah, we are. It's the hotel. I was speaking to the owner last night. The hotel opened just for summer, just for summer. So it's 2 or 3 months, 3 months old. That hotel went. We've had a good run of hotels the last couple of days, and we're right on the beach in a beautiful little location in southern Italy.
What a time to be opening a hotel with all the restrictions and shit at the moment.
Yeah, well, I don't know who's going to stay here for another 6 months after us because the holiday season is certainly stopped. But it's a nice hotel and it'd be a nice place for a holiday, actually.
It does actually lift the mood quite a bit when you've had a string of long transfers and so forth. And today finally looks like they've got their stage distances right. I think it's 143 Ks. You can start a little bit later, better night's sleep. It all adds up, mate, over 3 weeks.
It certainly does. It certainly does. And we've got some epic days ahead of us in the last week. But you'd be surprised that if you get a good feed, a good hotel. It certainly does lift the mood of the group there because we are a travelling circus, about 20 hotels in 25 days. But if you can get some nice hotels, it certainly helps. And so far so good. Obviously, we're one of the bigger teams in this race, and also the organisers do look after us. So no complaints on that front, mate.
So I notice you're going from the sort of right in the instep of Italy over to the Adriatic coast today. What's and it's probably it's just about all downhill, mate. Demar should be the demand today, I reckon.
Yeah, he's certainly the informed sprinter of the year, really. I can't remember off the top of my head. He's close to 20 wins this year. He's had a very, very good season. And obviously, having to not ride the Tour de France, they made a tactical decision, FDJ, and go all in for Pinot at the Tour. But he's certainly going to get his chance to win, raffle up a couple more stages here. He's the dominant force of sprinting this season, and he's got it all over the sprinters here by the looks of it.
And today, I was going to say today's stage, as we said, it's finally a little bit shorter, bloody pancake flat. Are you expecting much to happen today? Is there going to be any crosswinds or anything?
Jonesy, there is. It's going to be on today. So it's we've got 20 to 25 kilometre an hour tail crosswinds for the start, which then turn into crosswinds for the finish. So the stage will be over before you know it, but it's all about for us about concentration and about just staying focused through the stage because there's not too many days where you do get crosswinds in the Giro, and we are getting crosswinds today because we are going from west to east. But after today's stage, where it's one direction, we're going north, so it'll either be a headwind or a tailwind from now on in from after today's stage. But today, everyone knows there's wind. It'll be nervous, but it's a different field here. Like if this was the first week of the Tour de France, you've got a different type of rider here at the Giro. Not as many not too many teams have their teams stacked with the big, strong guys who can rip the crosswinds apart. So for us, it's we're really leaning on the likes of Eduardo Affini and Michael Hepburn on a stage like today.
Yeah. Is it time for one of those speeches where you say you won't win the Giro today, but you could definitely lose it if you're not paying attention?
I think we expect with the group I've got here, there's no excuses. They'll be in the front group, and we made that pretty clear last night in the debrief that where they needed to be. And if you want to be in the front today, you'll be in the front. And if you're not in there, if you're not in that very, very front group, then it always comes back here. After the last 25 years at the Giro, I haven't seen too many crosswind stages in the Giro that have actually, after they have split, very, very few teams have the strength to go on with it. So it's just about wanting it and putting yourself in a position to make those echelons.
So it's just about discipline, really. And
and hunger. You want to you want to look after your leader. You want to be in that front group. I've got a good group of guys here. I'm not like we're carrying around a group of 6 climbers under 60 kilos. Simon Yates can handle himself very well in the crosswinds himself, and the other guys are all in a good place.
Now, I was setting Whitey up with mentioning discipline because I wanted to hit him with a harder question. Well, I was speaking of discipline. Apparently, you got a 200 Swiss franc fine the other day, mate.
Yeah, and look, the only problem with that is we got no avenue to protest. Like it was a 6.5 hour stay, so yeah, of course we had to stop for a urine break. Yeah. But we stopped in the middle of nowhere, and we against the wall. Like I don't know what the hell that fine was for. I don't know where they expected us else to stop. But that's the beauty of the UCI. We can't go back to them and actually protest or complain about that fine. But it was ridiculous. All 3 of us got out of the car, and it was in a dead part of the race where there was not much going on. We found a quiet spot, and we copped the fine for it.
Mate, you must have pissed someone off. Like they've got it in for you because how did? Yeah, exactly. But how did Gene Bates not get a fine? He got off scot-free.
Well, I think because all they know is they know which directors are in car 1, car 2. So anything that happens, any fines that happen with involving car 1, or my name will always come up.
Well, maybe it could be like the feed zone, but they've got like the piss zone, and it's like you go off into the pits. All the directors line up. You could have those stand-up sort of setups they got at the Tour de France.
Yeah, those European urinals where there's a little box there where 3 people get into one area.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to help you out.
Look,
there.
I understand. Even the riders, our riders know that they have to stop in a stage to do that. But you just got to be discreet, and we definitely were. I just don't understand why we got a fine for that.
Yeah. Oh well.
So now you're still in the south of Italy, and the weather is terrible up north. What's the temperature today?
Low 20s. I think between 18 and 23 degrees. Really nice racing conditions, actually. So look, the weather has been a bit average up north, but it's better to be average now than average when we're up there in a week to 10 days time. But cold weather and bad feral conditions doesn't really faze us. We know that there's potential there to be facing pretty frigid weather temperatures. And yeah, if it comes, it comes. We've got great equipment. Giordano do a really good job with their winter clothing and their wet weather clothing. So our guys are confident in the clothing, and that's a big factor about being able to handle those extreme temperatures.
Now, Whitey, new hotel. Surely they've dished up a pretty nice seafood dish last night.
There was a lot of seafood on the buffet for the antipasta, but we had another nice. The pasta dish didn't have seafood in it, and we had a little bit of lamb last night. So there was seafood. I got stuck into the prawns and a little bit of octopus for the pre-starter, but the rest was a pretty standard pasta dish, which is always nice, and then we had lamb last night.
Very good. Good stuff. Well, we might have to get you to start taking some little photos and send them through because I want to see the visuals of some of these things just to really finish it off.
Now, so what's your plan of attack today? You've mentioned about making sure you keep out of trouble. Not likely a break will keep away, or stay away. But so what's your plan of attack today?
Yeah, look, a quiet day is a good day for us on a day like today. When you look at what we've got coming up, tomorrow will be a good day for the breakaway. I think we have more than 100 kilometres of flat, but then you have a Cat 1 in the middle of the stage day. So
yeah, I saw that.
That'll be an interesting one because you'll get a weird combination of riders making the break. Obviously, if it goes on the flat, it's harder for the climbers to make the break. But then those big guys who are in the break, once they get to that Category 1 climb, there's not much they can do against the climbers. And then the day after, it's probably another big showdown for GC. The day after that, so we've got it. Today will be a fast one, a short one. We just stay out of trouble. No incident day is a good day, and then tomorrow I'm not sure about putting people in the break tomorrow because I think Sunday's pretty important, and I think we're going to need a little bit more support around Simon throughout the stage. And the only guy that would the only two worth putting in tomorrow's breakaway would again be probably Housen or Haig, because Lucas is way too close on general classification, and we're going to need him Sunday as well. So the next 48 hours could be quiet, and then Sunday's a big showdown before the first rest day.
And your pick for the stage?
Oh, I stuffed up the editing there, John. I cut it off just before he said he's fit for the stage. So here's the last part of our chat with Matt White.
Very hard to go past the Mar, really. Today's stage, Gaviria needs to win a stage, and he will handle the crosswinds well. So I think the Mar is definitely the favourite, but I think Gaviria is definitely a dark horse.
And Viviani, he hasn't really fired this year. Like, he's always been up there and abouts, but I think he finished, fourth the other day. He doesn't seem to be on top condition.
No, I don't know. I've heard rumblings that he's not sort of hasn't really assimilated into the French culture of Cofidis. It's a big change from the Wolfpack, I think. And yeah, he's and yeah, with sprinters, it's about confidence. He started off the year poorly. He had a big crash in first or second stage of Tour Down Under, limped through the Aussie summer, got back to Europe, got beaten in a couple of races when he did start back in Europe in February. And then, not everyone handled the coming out of COVID. I know Italy obviously had a very harsh lockdown, 10 to 12 weeks, where he wouldn't have been able to train outside. But yeah, I still think, I don't think he's won a race this year. And I know that obviously for Cofidis, for those guys going back into the World Tour, he was their marquee signing. And they were, for what he'd done the previous couple of years on Quickstep, they were hoping to get that. And at the moment, they haven't got a win out of him, which puts a lot of pressure on a sprinter if you're not winning. He's got a few chances to go, but he just doesn't seem to have that same spark and turn of speed that he has shown in the past.
Oh, well, be interesting. All right, mate. Anything you want to add, Iffy?
No, that was great, Whitey, as always. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
And if you can, WhatsApp us some pics of your meal tonight. We'd really appreciate that.
I have my phone with me, so I'll take the money shot there and
we'll recap it tomorrow.
We'll recap it tomorrow.
All right, good stuff, mate. See you, Gabriel Gatte. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, gentlemen.
See you, mate.
See you, mate. No worries.
Have a good day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting those photos through tonight. I love a good snap of the Italian meals. Magnificent. Now, I've got some news, boys. I went podcast fishing whilst we were chatting away, and I've landed a pretty big fish, I reckon. George Bennett, who was on the Jumbo Visma squad. He's going to rival when he finishes his career as one of the best ever Kiwi riders, you'd have to say. Be him and Julian Dean. But he's great, though, so he's going to come on. He's just on the trainer at the moment, and I'm just trying to mop up Iffy's mess. Righto, Johnny, it's sponsors time. Michelin wine. Oh, jeez, good start. If that doesn't want to make you go down to Michelin,
I've just been fishing as well, so I might have a big fish as well, just to clean up my own mess. But anyway, well, of course, Michelin Hotel, a beautiful Michelin winery up at Nagambie. That's the Michelin Hotel there on the banks of the beautiful Goulburn River. And the hotel's only just over a year old, and it's sensational. So you got the rooms on. That's one view you see there. You got the same view on the other side, out the other section of the river, and just beautiful hotel. Wonderful swimming pool, and the brilliant restaurant. The food is to die for, and of course the bottle shop or the wine cellar is amazing.
I like how you used to use all these really fancy, now it's just as a bottle shop.
It was the catacombs. Last night was the catacombs.
The catacombs down below are amazing. And you can wander down into the brilliant Aboriginal art gallery down in the beginning of the catacombs. You get the elevator down, and then you can meander down through some of the areas where they keep all that magnificent Heathcote Shiraz and Bickerton Shiraz.
You know what I just woke worked out? You know what I just worked out? You can shorten it up tonight. St Kilda are playing at the moment, so Jerry's not watching. They're down by about 5 points to Richmond at the moment. So,
it's a big game. A big game. Yeah.
So anyway, get down to Mitchelton.
Get down to Mitchelton. Get down to Mitchelton. It's gorgeous.
Guys, the weather in Mitchelton, obviously a bit better than it is in some parts of Italy. And listening to Whitey talk about the weather, it is a big concern. Okay, we spoke about this on the first couple of days. I've just had a quick look at the forecasts going forward. Now, when they get into the stage to Sestriere, which is like one of the last couple of days at stage 20, that particular day, they go over the Colle dell'Anello, 2,733 metres. Next Thursday, so before they get there, next Thursday, the maximum temperature is -8, minimum temperature -15, and snow. They've got snow the day before that. And then from tomorrow, they've got 3 days of snow on that climb. And then if you go to, when you get to the Stelvio, the average maximum temperature over the next 2 weeks is -2, and the lowest minimum -11. So I'll tell you what, that clothing might want to be pretty good for the riders. Now, Stelvio is a bit different because they just go up that climb, right? So if it might be terrible, they might have to cut it short, whatever. But stage 20, that's the first big climb of the day. There are 3 climbs that day. They go over the Colle Isouard as well, and then finish at Sestriere. So if you've got to go over a climb that's -5, -10 degrees, whatever, then descend, then up the next one, and then descend, that is brutal on the body. So we'll see what happens when we get up to the big bergs.
Oh, mate, just stuff the newspaper down and you'll be laughing.
It's the old days, mate. I've just sent you a little link I got from Brett Lancaster. And Luke is not in bed. He's out on the bike.
Riding. Right.
He's riding.
Okay.
And he's actually got a little vision of that. So
he doesn't want to come on. He doesn't want to come on now because we showed that photo of him in bed last night.
Fair enough. And we will keep running it until he finally cracks.
Well, all right, now go on.
Well, now it's time for that amazing commercial from our mates at Bike Exchange.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Righto. Before we get
great ad.
It's a sensational ad. Before we get to George Bennett, I had the video locked into the system last night, which was when we went on safari, and I thought we saw tigers, but turns out there's no tigers in Kruger. It's all lions. So I thought, oh, well, why don't we show that? Because we didn't get time last night with Daryl Impey. So this is the Detour DeLorean.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Now, as I mentioned, they always say when you go to Kruger, don't wind your windows down. And our mechanics went one step further and got out of the car and took photos on their iPads. Here we go.
Well, it's early morning here, Pia, before 6 o'clock. We're leaving very early for Kruger National Park. We're going to see lots of lions and tigers and bears.
Where's Steve-O?
Unfortunately, Mr. Stevens won't be coming with us today. He's been ill the last couple of days, and he's bedridden.
Andre.
Andre,
Andre.
don't get out of the car, man.
Imagine they grab your phone out of your hand.
Mate, in Indonesia, they do. They come, they take your sunglasses, they train them to take your
Open the door now, boys.
Don't f***ing open the door now.
Been a tiring start so far.
Why?
We saw more at Crystal Springs than what we've seen over here, so hopefully it gets better from here on.
It's a down mood in your car. We're loving it in there.
Well, okay, well that's good.
Can I give you a fun fact?
No.
Every single zebra's stripes are slightly different,
Yes.
like a thumbprint.
Yeah, and the second fun fact is always have your door closed when it's Kruger. There's the sheriff version of the zebra. Are you happy now, mate, or you still got the shit?
It's improved. It's improved. It's an improvement.
I'm happy. I'm happy.
But everybody else
really
seems
happy.
pretty happy, so I'm happy that everybody else is happy.
I
wanted us to. Well, I knew it would be difficult to find a big five, but it would be nice, you know. So it's like when my dad says to me, "I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed." You know, it's like that kind of thing.
All right, so we need a line now.
Yeah, we need a lion. That would be great. But
let's get him.
Like hen's teeth out here.
How'd you rate Kruger, mate? It was a pretty negative car yesterday, I'd have to say.
Oh, I think that was probably just come from the driver, actually. I think the passengers in there, me, Esteban and Christian, all had a blast. You know, people travel from all over the world to see these animals in the Kruger National Park, and it's just around the corner, so it was a great opportunity and a good rest day activity.
What was your highlight of that day?
The lion, seeing the lion on the way out, actually. Yeah, that was the icing on the cake for me. It was awesome up until then, and then I just wanted to see a big cat at the end of the day, and we saw that lion.
Look, being a tour guide is not my forte, but 11 different official languages here in South Africa. We've got here in Pilgrim's Rest down here, used to be an old gold mining town, which ran out of gold really, and it was also a trading post from what Owen tells me. So he'll give you a little bit more about South Africa. This guy knows it all.
I wish I knew it all, but yeah, Daryl's got it right there. The old trading post, gold mining town, Kruger National Park, our biggest game park in South Africa. We've got 9 provinces in South Africa, and you're in Mpumalanga at the moment, which is up far northeastern corner of South Africa.
Natural waterfalls, we've got Mac pools, we've got Lisbon Falls, Berlin Falls, God's window. Basically, on a clear day, you can nearly see Europe from there. It's so beautiful.
What about food, Daryl?
The food, the meat here in South Africa, everybody's been raving about the meat. We've probably got the finest cuts of meat in South Africa, best butchers, you know, best game. We grain feed everything here, you know. So no, I think the guys have really been enjoying South Africa. They've enjoying the food, the culture. A lot of them thought we lived in huts, so it's been good to show them that actually we've got houses and electricity sometimes of the day.
Yeah, I didn't really get to see any part of the Kruger National Park. I spent most of the day on the dunny, trying to feel a bit under the weather. But anyway, the boys, they did their best to try to make me feel, you know, part of the team. Brought back this bloody wonderful T-shirt.
Yeah, good on you, Neil. Oi, we've got our fish. He's in the boat. George Bennett, how are you? Oh, sorry, I've already... What were we going to say?
No, that's all right. No,
yeah, George.
He's still firing up. He's still firing up. You mentioned tigers in Africa, which we don't have. But at the start of that, Whitey said looking to see lions, tigers, and bears. So he was worse than
none
you.
of those.
You were fine.
Oh.
Well, lions, yes, but not tigers or bears.
Yeah. They don't miss a trick. Ian Thomas says Daryl has his name on the car. That's correct. Yeah, he had a sponsorship deal, I think, with Subaru. George Bennett is back. I think he's having internet issues, but he is back. GB.
Said a bit of Moz, never trying. How are you,
Come
boys?
on, internet.
George, how are you, mate?
No.
Good.
I'm good. Good. I'm just,
So, what's happening with your Wi-Fi?
Post-training. Wow. Should have been up with the Wi-Fi. I thought I was blaming Bluetooth.
No, that's all right, mate. How many?
But...
Yeah, it's all right. We've had many Wi-Fi issues on the old Detour podcast.
All
right, well, you sort it out. Have you got any others?
Does any better?
Yeah, okay. You on the? Yeah, that's better. I think we're right now. How many Ks today, mate?
No.
No. You there? George, can you hear us?
All right.
George?
Yeah, now we're in.
You're back.
We're in now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, just a heads up, mate. I know on the social distance we drop F-bombs left, right, and centre, but it's a different demographic on the Detour. We just really try and keep it clean.
The children's show.
You've been able to hear me this whole time.
Yeah, we threw you on live.
Oh,
that's all right, mate. Yeah. How's it all going?
Good. Just in from our easy. Beautiful day in Girona. Last of the good days, I think. Winter's coming.
Yep. And hang on. How's this? We're adding to the mix. We've got both members from the Social Distance podcast. Sam Bewley. Hey, Bewley, you've got breaking news for the Detour Live.
Breaking news coming hot off the press.
What is it?
Paris-Roubaix has been cancelled officially.
Oh.
So real shame for the women because they were going to be lining up in their first ever women's edition of Paris-Roubaix. Yeah. So they have to wait till next year.
Well, Sam, we've got George Bennett as a special guest on. Is there any
Hi, George Bennett.
Any questions you'd open the batting with for George?
Have you just got him on, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fresh in.
Oh, this is not my show.
George, I'm going to ask you, George, what's your program for the rest of the year, mate?
One race left, fortunately. Only one. Unfortunately, it's 3 weeks long. So big stint ahead at the Vuelta. I was actually originally going to do the Tour and then tag one on and do the Giro afterwards, but I was just so dead after the Tour. I went to the Worlds and sort of limped around at the back for a while and pulled out, and then so that meant they pulled me out of the Classics as well, which was actually really good news for me. And then I've just had a few weeks to just concentrate, and I'm back training, and I'm actually feeling all right again. So heading to Vuelta in 10 days or something like that, and just gonna see what happens. I mean, it's unknown territory for everyone.
So who got the call up then? If you didn't you pulled out of doing the Giro, who was the rider that's got the tap on the shoulder?
I think it was actually a young Australian, Chris Harper.
Chris Harper. Oh.
Because he was down to do the Vuelta. I mean, it was all pretty loose. There was nothing locked in, and it was kind of like we said we'd talk about the Giro on the second rest day, and it got to the second rest day, and I said, "Don't talk to me about anything. Just talk to me about Paris."
Hey, George, I saw in cycling news today, we're trying to get Dave Brailsford on the show today, but Iffy stuffed it up. And I saw an article where he said they're going to have a full review because a lot of teams have caught up or overtaken Ineos, and your team was mentioned in that article. What is it that you guys have done better this year, you think? Is it all down to those custom pillow cases and Bismuth bed sheets?
Yeah, I mean, the whole marginal gains thing, I mean, there's definitely merit to that. But the main thing is we've just signed really good guys. I mean, you look at our tour team, it's Tony Martin. We signed him from Katusha. I mean, he was there last year already, but we've got Roglic, he's been a big part of the development of this team. But we brought in Dumoulin, we brought in who else? We've just guys that we've signed that have added. Oh, Wout van Aert. He's also like a guy that's we brought in from cyclocross, and we're just bringing in big guys. So there is a relation to budget, but it's a lot of teams have good riders, and what we do behind the scenes is we're also just doing all these minor things. I mean, I'm talking like TT handlebars that are custom built, and nutrition apps, and all those little things that you need to make really good riders even better. On the Ineos thing, I mean, they got, yeah, for sure we've caught up, but you know, they've also just had some real bad luck. I mean, Bernal, G looked up for the Giro for sure. Everyone was, he was number one favourite, I think, him and Yatesy, and they've just had bad luck all over the place. So, you can have all the custom pillowcases and nutrition apps you like, but if someone breaks their pelvis, it's not going to help.
Bewley, your marginal gains at the moment, you still weighing your food, aren't you?
I haven't been weighing it as strictly as I was before the tour. I need a haircut. That'd be a marginal gain, wouldn't it? No, but I have been, like George was saying about the nutrition apps and things. That stuff's becoming a big part of cycling. Obviously, nutrition and weight has always been a big part of cycling. But the fact that there's so many more, there's so many options out there now with apps, and we use nutritionists as well as George's team, and probably most teams, I'd say. So much more ability to be able to be a bit more scientific about losing weight, a bit smarter about it, which is really important too, for a lot of reasons, health as well. And you can really, you can get the most out of those things, and that's obviously what George's team's been doing really well the last year or two. And like you see, they have overtaken Ineos in a sense, and in that way. And I think that you guys, George, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've probably have followed the model of Ineos a little bit. And I think, you guys also indulge in a fair bit of training camps, altitude training camps now, more so than you did in the past. That's definitely an Ineos model. They've spent a lot of time at training camps, and you guys are doing lots of that now as well. So yeah, lots of things changing out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, would you rather be a pro cyclist? Okay, take away the dark history of the sport, but if you could just, in terms of what your day to day looked like, your 9 to 5 looked like back in, say, 1995, like you never would have got up and weighed your food. You never would have done 5 hours with 2 hours of efforts on, the power meter or numbers you had to write down on your hand because you couldn't remember all your training, and you just go out for a ride with the boys, and then you'd sprint for some crossings and things like that. And now it's like, I can't, me and you could both have 5 hours, but we couldn't ride together because you've got strength efforts and I've got mediums, and it's like, so cycling. And also we spend, okay, it helps I've got a house at altitude, but if you don't have a house at altitude and you're doing just camps, you do 100 race days, and then you do another 100 days a year living up on top of a mountain. So, cycling has become a lot more professional and a lot more required mentally and physically of riders, I think, now. Not that the guys didn't train hard back then. I think they just didn't know, and fast forward 10 years, what are we going to be doing? Is it that we're going to be, it's about nutrient timing and stuff. And okay, you can only eat at this hour or this lot. And, there's so many more restrictions on your life coming in, the more professional and the more we know about the sport.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll be doing in 10 years. I'll be watching.
Back in the 70s, George, I used to weigh my cigarettes. I was right into it, mate.
Scooter.
Question to both you guys. Just listening to that, George, what about if you're going to do all these training camps plus all the days you're away racing? What sort of a strain is that putting on relationships for those riders that have girlfriends or wives or families?
Yeah, I'm in a super lucky position because Caitlin. Well, one, the fact that we live up in Andorra, that's huge. So I can do a lot of camps at home with Caitlin, and I think Caitlin just gets sick of me when I'm home, so she probably quite enjoys it. But I think for a lot of people, it is hard because, especially this year. You look at the schedule. I was basically on the road from the 20th. I worked out the other day, like the 26th of August. I left and didn't come home until after the tour for more than a day and a half or something. So it was just this outrageous schedule that that was hard for a lot of people. And I think it's a lot easier now with Skype and things like that. But I think back when boys were weighing their cigarettes in 1975, you sent a letter, and or I don't know what you did. You just bug it off and hope for the best, and come home, and the postman's winking at you, and you're wondering what he's winking at, and you sort of hope for the best.
and your kids your kids that come along later on don't look like you. What about one of the questions that was put to us from one of the viewers was. This was specifically to the Australians, but it's the same for you
I've got
guys.
it right here. You can read it, Scotty.
Yeah, where is it? No, it hasn't come up for me.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but it was basically what are you going to do? Oh, you read it out, Dan.
Oh, there's another COVID question. What do you think the Australian and New Zealand riders based in Europe will now look to come back home to avoid Northern Hemisphere winter and increasing COVID cases?
I was having this discussion actually with somebody, with Paddy Bevan yesterday out on the bike. As it stands at the moment, a lot of us are staying in Europe because of the quarantine rules back in New Zealand. Obviously, when you arrive in New Zealand, as we all know, you've got to spend 2 weeks in a hotel. You have to pay for it yourself. So a lot of us are planning to avoid that and stay in Europe so we can continue training. But it is a good thought and a good question because the cases are spiking here. Restrictions are coming back in. We have more restrictions here in Catalonia than we did, say, a month ago. And I guess we are staring down the barrel of potentially another lockdown. I don't think it will happen. Economically, I don't think they can do it. So I think we'll still be okay here. But if they did lock down again like they did in March, April and May here, then I think the 2 weeks in a hotel back in New Zealand would be a better option. So if that does happen, I would probably be looking at getting on the first plane out of here. But I don't think it will happen.
What do you reckon, George?
Yeah, we're battling with this. This is, I mean, for me, it's not just my decision. It's sort of Caitlin as well, and she wants to go home and see her family, but she's also in the same boat as me. The thought of 2 weeks in a hotel was just there's something really hard to get your head around. I mean, being stuck in your own house for 2 weeks, no worries. You can keep yourself busy. You can ride the erg. You can do Zwift, whatever. But I'm hearing horror stories coming out of these isolation hotels. There's not even enough room to do skipping or anything, And I just don't know if I can put myself through that. I mean, but on the other hand, I've got a lot of nieces, nephews that are young, they're growing up. I want to see them. I mean, I talked to my niece the other day. When I left New Zealand in February, she couldn't speak. And now she can have a phone call with me. And I think, wow, that's just crazy, I'm going to miss this growing up. And the parents aren't getting younger, all of that stuff. So it would be really, it's always important for me to go home and see everyone. But on the other hand, I think I'd rather be cold than in Europe. And it's not a bad year to stay because I think, like Phil said, there's so many guys that are in the same boat, just going, we can't do this lockdown. Let's all stick it out here. And Christmas away from home would be hard, but if you're all here with all your mates and we can kind of, find a way around it and muck it out together and maybe it won't be, or at least be a lot more bearable than stuck in Europe by yourself when everyone's back in NZ.
Yeah. George, I was just going to ask, it was fantastic to see Primoz win Liège-Bastogne-Liège, especially after, the dramas of the Tour de France. It must have been a really great feeling for the whole team to see be able to come back and do that.
Oh, yeah. I was sitting here on the couch and I nearly got an eviction notice, I think, from noise control. When I saw that sprint, it was exciting times and it was an awesome race. And I think everybody worldwide's pretty happy for Primoz. I mean, we can't say, it's not that he was robbed of victory in the Tour. He was just beaten. He was just beaten by a stronger guy. But, we all felt his heartbreak and we all put in so much. And, it's not like, okay, now it's all even and everything's good. But I mean, he wins the monument and I just, it's a good feeling in the team and yeah, I think everyone's excited about it. And then we also go, okay, if he's still up for Liège, he's still up to race like that, then what are we going to do at the Vuelta? Maybe if he can carry that going, then, it just puts a good energy in the whole team.
Yeah. I've got a fan question for you, George. Wants to know what difference do the ketone drinks make?
Not a heap. You hear teams or people hyping them up like they're awesome. I've actually I've gone off them in races, Some guys use them. Some guys, a lot of guys actually don't even use them at all. Or there's different ways you can use them for recovery, things like that. They're not a silver bullet, that's for sure. They're not the knockout thing that makes you from your average Joe into Tour de France rider. So I mean, it's also hard to measure though as well, because you take them and then the next day you might still feel average, but of course you feel average at stage 15 of the Tour de France. I mean, it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're going to feel rough. So it's hard to be really objective about them. And I think, if I was really going to I'm still making my mind up, but if I was really going to make the definitive decision, I'd need to do some kind of clinical trial with, a double blind study and all these things. And so I don't know, spend your money on your wife or something.
Marginal gains.
That's right. And we've got another one. Stuart McIntosh wants to know, George, will you ever get a chance to be the protected GC rider at a Grand Tour? Is this where your career is heading?
Yes, definitely.
Tour de France next year?
No, it won't be the Tour, but it'll be. I'll be around. I'll be taking a run at GC and in the near future.
All right. Well, Bewley's had to run. We better let you go, George, because you've got to fire up for the social distance podcast. Massive show tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Thanks, Faye. George, thanks for coming on, mate. Fantastic.
All right. Hey, cheers, guys. See you later.
Good on you, mate.
Right,
Take it easy.
Yeah, mate. Bye.
Boys, there you go. Delivered
well done, Dan.
Couple of good insights there.
I got a message from a couple. I went fishing as well, and I just got a message from about 3 different people telling me Perro Bay has been cancelled. So Bert sent us one, and Dara sent us one, and I've just got a message back from Alan Piper. He'd love to come on, but he's on doing a road reconnaissance of what is he doing? A road? He told me here.
Roubaix. Don't worry about it, Al. Come on the show now instead.
Well, yeah, exactly. Just pull over. Tell everyone to pull over. Get off your bikes and get on the show.
Well, we've seen a fair bit of
Gent Wevelgem.
Okay, I've seen plenty of footage of the lady. No, that's where he's been doing the recce, Alan Piper. But I've seen plenty of footage of the ladies checking out the cobbles, and doing all their course reconnaissance, etc. So they, as Sam said, they would be devastated to not have a crack at it. Like some of them are probably happy that it's not on because they'd be absolutely petrified of it. But that's the same with the guys as well. But for the ones that really wanted to have a crack at that, they would be so disappointed. So have to wait till next year.
Well, I'm disappointed as well. I had so many good photos lined up. Like, look at this. There's an old one of Dave in his career. There's another one where, Gerrans won the Tour and he's in the car. We could have relived the Froome days. Like there's a real serious chat.
We'll get him. We'll get him in a couple of days. We will get him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we will.
All right. Before we go, selections, boys. Who's going to win today? Demar is not under the radar anymore. Jeez, $2.10. That's short. Caviria, $3 needs to do something. Viviani put a red text through him. Sagan, a lot of second places. He's due. Who's
Hodge? No, he'll be. Well, he's there to lead out Ballerini, so they could flip it round. But Ballerini was third on the first day that Demar won, and he was only literally half a wheel, or less than that, because it was so close between all three. We focused on Sagan in second and Demar in first, but Ballerini was right there as well. So 14's not too bad. I think heart goes with Demar because he's been so strong, but Gaviria would be super desperate because this could be the only chance you'll have for a while.
Yep. The only thing that makes you nervous is the crosswinds. It could just sort of split to pieces. So if he's not in that front group, then usually the strong guys that are in form, like your Demars, they won't miss the split. So just got to wait and see.
And Groupama are super motivated to help, do everything they can for Demar. They've got the confidence. They will be the team that will take control of the final. But Gaviria is definitely the smoky.
Yep. And we'll try and get Grace.
Demar's demand.
Demar's demand. Yep.
Demar's demand, Demani.
Exactly. We'll try and get Grace Brown on the show tomorrow. We thought we had her lined up tonight, but we'll try and get her tomorrow. And they're not racing Roubaix now, so hopefully we can get her on the show. Anything you want to add before we go, boys?
No, apologies. Dave Brassford has apologised, so but we'll get him on.
Yep. Oh, hang on. I've just got a message as well. I went fishing, and Eddie Merckx said maybe another time. So, yeah. Sorry, guys.
All right. Well, stay tuned tomorrow.
I will get Eddie before the end of the Giro.
Okay, so tomorrow we're going to have Dave Brailsford, Eddie Merckx, Lance Armstrong is going to be on, and Cadell Evans. Stay tuned. Massive show. See you tomorrow.